I apologize for being just a tiny bit late. I've been trying to do a better job of putting out a different style of content for my friends who are hearing impaired. And it does take up a little bit of my time, but I wanted to make sure to put that ETF news out so that they could read it. I do put a little bit of stuff behind it too, like some cheery stuff. Time of the season and whatnot, but I wanted to put that out. We'll talk about this news, but I wanted to put that out for my friends that are watching that might struggle with hearing. You know, I never thought too deeply into that until a couple months ago when somebody sent me a nice message on Facebook after I started to type stuff out and use AI as well to take my voice and, write it, and then I can change the wording to the proper context. So I wanted to do that first. So that took a little bit of my time. Um, but anyhow, getting into the charts this morning. Well, first I want to commend there was 35 people waiting before the live started, and there was 35 likes. I don't remember if that's ever happened before. So thank you very much for everybody hitting that like button watching. Um Definitely starts it off on a positive note. But so for XRP, for Bitcoin, we've got a decision here. There's two ways this can happen. And yes, my title is this is more on the conservative side, or the let's be precautionary. But we'll talk about the positive side of this as well. Even though I put XRP volume after drop suggests, even though it didn't spell it right, sub $2 is probable. Bitcoin, Ethereum, alts on verge of continuation down. Just because you're on the verge, remember, on the verge doesn't mean you've fallen off. There's still a possibility here that we get outside of this box and we start working our way back up. Remember what I said yesterday? Left shoulder down to the head. We want to play as far to the bottom as we can. So there was opportunity to buy the bottom of this box. I'm not going to say what I did yet. And then you see the top of the box at 94,451. Now what we would want to see today on the daily candle close is close somewhere over 91,229. We've come down and did exactly what I needed it to do yesterday. The 4-hourly dump down, and now we're reversing. So this is almost identical to what we talked, almost to the T, what we talked about. Tom sold his crypto. I sold my crypto before the drop, not all my crypto, not the XRP I have or the XRP healthcare, but everything else went on the chopping block before this drop happened. When I refer to what I did, it's whether or not I bought anything or not. But be that as it may, right now, 92,451 on Bitcoin is where all eyes should be. 4-hourly, nice reversal. 3-hourly, not the strongest case of volume, but at least it came in a little bit stronger in this candle. Still below very key resistance levels. One problem I do have right now is we've got to invalidate a little bit of a structure here, but I do like this inverse perfect setup. It's perfect. Like yesterday when we talked, if we had to set that, I couldn't have set it up better. Down to a shoulder, resistance, down to a head, almost to the bottom of the box. Up to the right, to a right shoulder, possibly breaking. It hit the resistance, but it already built this. Maybe it comes down again one more time. But now you would look for the case of we come up to 93. And if we back test 90, I'm telling you, we've got a back test. If this rising wedge is bearish, we've still got a back test that. It's just a matter of, is it a continuation down? Or is it a breakthrough? That's the question. And if you look at Ethereum, it's had a nice little reverse here. It never came down to 2,866. Let's see how it looks on the 2-hourly. Starting to break back into a nice little, honestly, we hit a bottom here, but Ethereum is a whole nother problem. Its monthly time frame is horrendous. It's so overbought right now that it kind of sucks how far up it is. But, that can run up there for a long time. It could clear out some space, but forget Ethereum right now. XRP, pretty defined what we have to do, to be honest. If we continue to break down $1.98 zone, that zone is just going to be what comes up next. That's why the sub $2 dog has to be talked about until we have a bullish overtake here. Daily's working into the oversold. I would like to see it a little bit more oversold, but who am I to say? Weekly's pushing a decent spot down, oversold in the stochastic, but at the same time, we're kind of stuck between it right now. We're just stuck between it. We haven't, I would have liked to have seen a bigger volume portfolio. So that gives me cause for concern right now. Not having any volume right now is kind of historically bizarre. If we're thinking we're just going to round the bottom real quickly. But I've seen stranger things in crypto. There's no doubt about it. But that volume is atrocious. For how much we've dropped, the volume is just absolutely atrocious. Like, it's just bad. It's bad. Now it could be lining up for the fact that we're getting ready for something. Like, I have this gut feeling like, hey, we've been talking about a certain level. It made that first run up. Everybody thought it was going to bounce off. And we talked last night how I thought it would come closer to the bottom of this box because everybody would probably buy it right here. And then it would come. And it made that first push up for Bitcoin after. And then it just fell off down to 89. Didn't quite break 89, but it came close. And I don't know. Something tells me like this is for where it's at on Bitcoin. I mean, you got to look at the assets, the underlying assets now. Okay, now XDC. XDC is pretty much done and within a pretty fair margin of what we thought it would do. Now, did it come all the way down? Not to 4.7, but did it come down to 4.8? I mean, that's close. If you were waiting for the drop down there, I mean, that's that's close. The daily's mid-tier, which kind of sucks, but that could just be stuck in the neutral for a reversal. Weekly's massively oversold. 2 hourly is where some of the concern is because it was, well, maybe not concern. Maybe that's the liquidity candle where it finally liquidated everybody. But now here's the philosophy with a lot of this. If you were able to sell, let's just use this for an example at 5.556 after we had that nice little 6 to 8% push up. Let's say you got it at 5.5, you were able to sell. No, it didn't come down all the way to 4.75 to make it a 13% drop, but it came down 12%. See, we're splitting hairs now. So now, objectively, you bought back, you've got what you could have, and now you've made it your bitch again. And what I mean by that is now you don't have to do anything until that structure proves broken. You've already picked up 12% more without having to spend more on the drop. That's winning. That's winning. You know, that's a winning formula. If you do that and you stick to that, that's a winning formula. That's a winning formula, is all I'm going to say. So that's just something, that's just XDC I can point to. I can do this all across the board. I can start to do this all across the board if I have to, and I probably will because I think it's going to make a lot of sense. But while you're in here, I want to make sure we do one thing. Take a breath. It's going to be a rough morning for some. Especially, well, we'll talk. Because no decision can be made without the proper context. So, looking through all the comments. So, what do we think? I just want to know. I want to know what everybody thinks right now. What do you think about what I said about XDC? What do you think about everything I said? Honestly, do you think it makes sense? Do you think I'm overanalyzing? I'm just curious. Or do we think we're actually in a good spot? Oh, today's cold. It's cold in Michigan, too. It is cold. Oh, believe me, everybody's going to say bigger drop right now. That's the point. That's what you want to hear. This is the it's by design following exactly what we would have liked to have seen. So I'm just excited. I like watching this stuff. So like I ask questions, but at the end of the day, I just like watching it. All right, so we were talking about this stuff. So now when you talk about like IOTA, bounced right off the bottom of that area we talked about yesterday, bounced around. Now you're looking for a retest. If it comes through here, I mean, you've got control here. We've got control now of the pattern. You've got control. We know the support area. Now we don't have to guess. Like the hardest part about buying and selling and rebuying and reselling is the guessing game. Once you don't have to guess and you can see a formulated setup, you're kind of off the hook. You know, you kind of get off the hook. And like I don't need when I'm trading, I don't need the exact bottom. I don't, and I always try to explain this to the audience, and it's especially crucial for when you get into time. You don't need the exact bottom. If you sold, let's just say you sold something like Epic. Let's say you sold Epic. And let's say you had 10,000 tokens, you sell it, and now you buy it back, and you can pick up another 500 or 600 tokens for free. Or you sell stuff and you can pick up, even if it's a couple hundred tokens. That's the winning formula, though. And then next time it happens, you got to do it again. Next time it looks like it's, so if this rolls over, but I'm not saying this is the time. I'm just saying use that philosophy. But that looks like an inverse head and shoulders setting up there. And if that is, now we got to break past the first resistance at 93,000. If it's not, again, this is going to be more pain. But you don't want to just, you've got to have setups here. I don't make a move without your advice. You're spot on. And I have a lot of theories, but I had a lot of theories too about, so I'm trying to think of the best way to approach this. And right now we're doing a great job. Like we're doing a great job with the minor reversal. What's the stock market doing? Stock market's getting eaten alive. Ooh. It's gonna take out the woodshed. Not surprising there. We're at a very, very ominous time right now. A very, very ominous time. XRP bouncing up, but we still need to break past these first key areas. We're starting to push in an area now where, man, I really like that drop that we had last night. I can't even lie. That's what I was hoping for. Down to 89, closer to that 88.5. Instead of being all the way up over the top, that's what I was hoping for. That was like, that's where you strike when it was coming down that wick. If you were going to strike. As it was coming down. But the problem is like, it's a risky business here. Like a lot of this stuff might not be completely done dropping. It could just be these small rebounds. And like I said, I'm not exactly excited. You know, I'm not exactly excited about the volume rebound, but like that's fine because now we should, even if it goes bad, you would think there's a lot of liquidity on Bitcoin at 100K. Like there's over $1 billion at 100K. It's just growing by the minute. So you would think maybe a 9 to 10% short squeeze across the market if Bitcoin really, and it's not going to be a straight shot, believe me. So I don't know if it's going to start here or not. But Bitcoin's got to come up here. It's guaranteed. Even if it's bearish, it's got to come back and retest. It's played out. So my philosophy was it would come all the way down close to the bottom, and you'd buy as it got closer to here, you'd buy your altcoins, and then you would hold them unless it broke this low and showed you it was going to go way lower. And then you would just hold until it came up here and retested that 100K. That was my philosophy. So, you know, without saying anything, you know, I had a philosophy. So I don't know if it was the right philosophy, obviously, but that was my philosophy. So stuff was done last night. I always have this fear of like making people do something they don't want to do because they listen to me and then they're like, oh, well, he did it, so I got to. No, that's not what I'm saying. Even if I did do something, that's not what I'm saying. You know, I'm not. I'm just saying, guys, why are you asking me if I liquidated most of my crypto? I did that before the drop. I liquidated everything very publicly, even XDC, before this drop, besides XRP and XRP Healthcare. I don't know what you guys are asking the wrong question. That's part of what I always say. We're here, but we're not actually paying attention. We're asking the wrong questions. Am I liquidating? Oh, that was already done. That was something I did before the drop. It's the wrong question now. You should be asking, did you stick to your plan? So, but let's watch this for a second. Let's see how this reacts. I'm just as curious as everybody else to see how this reacts. I'm just as curious. Julie? Yeah. Are you okay? Yeah. Okay. Do you need anything?
I'm just deciding what I want to do.
I heard you walking around, that's why I asked. What do you want to do? Are you trying to do
bathroom stuff in the bathroom?
Oh yeah, I forgot that game. I forgot that stuff came. Let's see. No, Frankie Fresh, it's not your fault. I'm just saying that's something I talked about before this drop happened. And I told everybody, get as liquid as you possibly can before that drop. But I also said that like every single time you go around, the goal when you do those drops is not to cash all your money out if you're cashing out some of your that's not the goal. The goal is so that when it drops, so if you have X amount, you can have even if it's a few more, but there's a different my strategy is different than a lot of people. So like when I do something like this, I'm not just pulling out because I don't believe in the market. I'm pulling out because I see an opportunity to where instead of losing some money, it's not necessarily about gaining more tokens either. Sometimes I won't take the extra tokens, but now I might have an extra $1,000 or $1,500, and maybe I can expand into something else, or maybe I can pay myself. You know, you never know the situation. But like in this situation, it wasn't about taking any money out of crypto. Like I'm not interested in taking it out of the crypto market. I'm really not. My strategy is a little different this time around, as you guys know. So my goal was expand on XDC. You know, expand, even if it was just a small amount in IOTA, and expand just a little bit in some of these other tokens. Like, you know, it didn't have to be a lot. I just wanted to make sure that what I was seeing in my head was playing out in the market and I could be happy with what I was doing. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, and then like, no, like not everything is even bounced back. Like, look, one thing I did not do because I didn't see any effort. So I don't know if I should even buy it back. That's up to you guys because it hit my back test with Linnea because I was waiting for everybody to reapply it. And yes, it's lower than when we sold it. It was at like 107 or whatever. And now it's at 102, whatever. But I was waiting to see if anybody would redo their stuff so that they could be a part of it, but it didn't happen that way. I don't even think anybody did. Well, I mean, the 11 people that still want to be a part of it, so I'll open it for that reason. But I can do that during the live. I'm not worried about that. I just wanted to see a bigger effort there if people really wanted to be a part of it. Because every time I open it, then people complain, and then when I have it close and wait for people to join, then it feels like I just go backwards. It's a strange thing that goes on. Right now, though, I will tell you, very happy with what I'm seeing across the market. Like, I'm not mad. It's just I would have liked to have seen more volume. That's all. I would like to see a little more volume. I would like to see a little more volume. But I like how we came down. I really like how we came down. And I like how we're rotating. And I like where we're at right now. If this daily candle, this is a good sign right now for what's happening. What's happening right now is actually a good sign. And it could propel us going into the rest of the day. Hopefully it propels us going into the rest of the day. We want it to propel us going into the rest of the day. XLM's up 3.2%. And like I said, I did some things, like and it might not, some people might not agree with me. And I, at the end of the day, might still be baffled by what I did. But there's a few things I did. Well, maybe not baffled, but like I have strong underlining feelings about certain things. And I may have made a good decision or a very bad decision on some things. I don't know. Only time will tell. Let's see. I mean, where we're at with everything, we are in that make it or break it zone. I just like the fact that Bitcoin is trying to push out of here now, but we've still got so much work to do. And this isn't a if you bought right now, I'm holding it for the end of time. The play here would have been, as I described yesterday, you buy the bottom of this box, and then you play it to the retest of that rising wedge that we broke down out of. That should be about a 10 to 15% opportunity on anything you bought, depending on where you bought it. The proper signal, even if you didn't buy anything yet, and this is why I'm talking right now, is right now. If we hold the break out of this box, you know that that's the buy area. Imagine, would you care if you bought it, and this is what I always try to tell, would you care if you bought it at 88,000 and some change, or 89,000 and some change, or at 92,451 if it's going to 100K? That, to me, is a good question to answer individually. You can answer it individually. You don't even have to tell me. Individually, that's a good answer to give yourself. Oh, this is a horrible SHX chart. Which one did I use? That's a stupid one. That'll get you in trouble. You got to have one that's had the asset on it for any length of time. If you have one that just started the asset, you're screwed. What is it? 0089? That's not the price. Is it? Oops. No, can't be. Hold on. Is that the price? That other one was telling me that price, and that's how far off it is? Holy crap. No, it says 0092 whatever on my why do all these say 0086? Kraken's 93. Everything else is 91 on crypto.com. That's a big price disparity. That's a huge price. Do you see that disparity? Wow. 0089 on MEXC and 0093. Wow. That's that exchange nonsense I always talk about. Jesus Lord. That's that bull Chicago. That's the Chicago. That's that bull crap. Let's see. There was one that I took off here, and for Frankie Fresh, I'm putting it back on. Frankie Fresh is the sole reason why I do some things too. He tugged at my heartstrings when I stopped paying attention, so I'm like, I better put this back on here just so he can see. But I'll redraw this out, Frankie, so you can see basically the hope here instead of just the doom and gloom. Okay, sorry. But I'm going to keep that on here. I promise, Frankie, just for you, my friend. Just for you. Just for you. So, what did we learn so far? Sorry, I'm not reading comments, but what did we learn so far? 92,451 is what we want to hold. And what we're trying to push. And look at the 4 hourly. You see how we're rotating the bottom? This is good. Broke bullish and stochastic. Now, in theory, we stop looking at the smaller time frames, and now you ride this, and it should, over time here, it should work its way back in to a better area for us, let's just say. It should start working towards that 100K if it does what it needs to do. You know, if it does what it needs to do. Some reversal candle signs like on V-chain. H-bar has a nice breakup candle there. Some of them are broken up a little bit higher than some of the other ones. Let's see XLM real quick. Why is it going slow? Come on, I like this in real-time trading, but you don't go slow now. There we go. XLM breaking up into more of a push back into an area, which helps it tremendously. Just tremendously when you get back up into this zone. Well, then it brings us over the top resistance. But I think that's where we might be fighting to, that 26.9. To try to come back over that area where we just couldn't break through before. I don't know. There's a possibility here that it's starting the reversal here. There's the possibility. So far, I mean, it's doing exactly what I want to see price-wise. The only thing that I wish we seen a little bit more of is volume. But, you know, I can't command volume to come in. Do I believe the price difference on SHX could be because it has an excellent pairing and an Ethereum pairing? Interesting. Interesting. Let me see all the pairings on here. Which ones haven't I covered yet? I'm trying to get through the nuts and bolts. Proton at 0038. Epic at 58 cents. Like, there hasn't been much of a rebound yet. Now with XPR, if it comes back up and retest. I mean, I draw a jank thing on there a long time ago. But it's building. It's trying to build. Technically stayed within the uptrend. It fell outside of it. Created a couple wicks down. I'll draw this out better. Just, I don't know if I want to do it right now. Because it's still relevant. If it falls out of this, we know that this pattern, if it doesn't give us the rebound now, we've got the death cross. Technically, the daily, we've got to pull it. I know it looks like it's just dumping out to oblivion, and it might, but this is the candle where if it can hold 3.8, this is where you would get that reversal candle, and even if it's bearish, it'd probably come back up to 4.3. This is where we're at in the pattern right now. Even if we're bearish, we've got to have, remember, it's not all straight down, so you can't just go straight to the bottom. So even if we think it's going to 88 or it's going to 85 or 72, we've got to get that confirmation. Now, I'm not saying to leverage trade. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you were looking at spot positioning and the way that these charts are, the way it worked out, because to me it seems like even if we were going to break down and go all the way to oblivion, and maybe this does come to 4.7 first, but it seems to me that we're probably going to have to retrace this movement Even the breakdown movement here. Let me get rid of this so it's not in the way. And that would mean for XDC, I mean, you would expect a reversal, even if we're bearish, to retest now that 523. I mean, that's not a crazy big move back up. Whoops. But it is 6.2%. Like, and then you're in control because then you can watch it as it bounces around in here. Then you can be like, oh, I'm going to buy it as long as it stays in here. But if it breaks this, and I'm going to sell it until it goes to 2, you know, this is where you take control. I feel like this is where you can start taking back control of the pattern. This is where everybody forgets to take the control back. It's like we've got to have our bare bottom pricing. No, we don't. There's opportunity at certain moments of charts. I call them the majestic opportunity. The low volume suggests that a drop below $2 is probable. Just because it suggests it doesn't mean it's going to happen. The volume would suggest that it's more probable that you'd go under $2. But what it doesn't tell you is the fact that we could be in an exhaustion and reaccumulation. And now we've worn out our welcome down at these levels. And now we've got to retest some of the reasons why we dropped. So for XRP in particular, $2.26 would be our first showdown, in my opinion. No, it's higher than that today, if it happens today. So $2.29 basically XRP showing down with. If it breaks back over there, oh, well, that'll be good. Then we'll start breaking out towards I don't know if it'd be 252 first. I think there might be something. It might be 252. I know we got the micro levels, but I'm not too much in I don't care about the micro levels right now. I just want to see the ultimate pushes. So if we can get over 229, it opens it up, even if you're bearish. And then ultimately, if we can overtake all of this, and we are trying to form like this megaphone style pattern, in theory, I mean, if it rotated back up, it could come way back up here just to come way back down. I still think that would be the ultimate trap. Send it right back up to 266-ish. And then drop it out. That's what I had drawn out before after a subtle drop. And then back up and down. That's why this was up and then back down. It's just, how would they do it? These are good questions to ask ourselves. I really think so. So, and then if it bounced there, it didn't quite come all the way. But if it does do this and then it forms the rest of it, that would form the megaphone. Like, and then you'd be like, oh, well, it did have to come back down here because it failed to come back down and tap it a third time, leaving 1, 2, and then 4. Unless this is a breakthrough, maybe we misevaluated this, you know, but it can't. I don't think we did. I think we're looking at that in a pretty good way. Unless, of course, it was more like this. And we just overanalyzed it. And now with the new evidence, we can look at it like that. But I don't know. Either way, I guess I wouldn't kill it for saying that. What if that is what it did? I didn't think about it like that. I just thought about coming back down. What if it did it like that and then... If you look at that, then it needs another hit on the top. And then it could still come back down. Because technically, we've only had 2 hits over the top. One section here, one section here. Maybe that's what it's trying to do. I don't know. But if not, that's interesting when you look at it like that, actually, now that I look at this. Is that not? But I would still say you want to come through here. And maybe you do just line it up because you had honestly, an overextension. You had the wick down, push up, back around, little extended down, but a push back up. But you do have this. You could use this in the chart, so it's not like we're making it up. You could use these wicks down in the 4 hourly where it tapped and then broke out. Then it came back around for a little more validation before coming back up to the resistance. Interesting. That's why I like looking at the charts. But in order for that to even be anywhere near possible, we have to get past, whoops. What the hell one was that? We have to get past the those first two resistance we talked about. Oh, that was that. Okay, that's looking at it like that. I got it. I get it. But yeah. So a lot of interesting possibilities here, to say the least. To say the least. Look, you can almost reattach it. Yeah, this is interesting. This is interesting. Because if you played it up and it actually passed here, then you would have a higher level. But this is interesting. This is going to merge. This is merging. Like, this is where my confluency is starting to merge. How do we put this? Let's just get rid of that one. We'll redraw it. Back down. Back around. Then bullish would be, that would be ultra bullish. And then like how this would expand out and then you back test it on the way. That's what you want to see. Even if it doesn't have to come back down there, now that I think about it, because maybe this would be the V shape and it comes up and does exactly what we're talking about. So that's our question. Can we do something like that? If we lose that support, well, we know we're coming to $1.98 if this doesn't hold. And then if that doesn't hold, we're coming to $1.77 to $1.82. That's the fear within. That's the fear within. So what I would say is now you know your support structures in case this doesn't play through. You know, in case it doesn't play through, we now know our levels. We now know our levels. I would still tell everybody to look at XDC still, based on how far it's dropped. 4 hourly's massively oversold. Now, I know the daily can still come down, but it's at the mid-tier point, which is normally, if you're going to do a reversal, you would do it there. The weekly is extremely oversold. So if we're trying to build something like in the weekly, like maybe this is a shoulder head, it would have to come back up to that. Try to get a close up here. Just like the daily, if it's trying to do something like that, it would want to get a close on the daily over 498. So probably back over 5 cents by the end of the day if it's trying to do something like that. This is also a good opportunity for the market to run up because not very many people would buy right here because now everybody's going to be convinced it's got to go lower. It's got to go lower. Everybody's going to be convinced it's got to go lower. Right? It's common. That's human nature, man. That's human nature is all I'll say. Let's see. I told Frankie Fresh that I would do this. And Frankie, I hope you're doing good today, my friend. And hope Janina as well. Hope you're both doing really, really well. Sorry, my focus is trying to portray this the best I possibly can this morning so that everybody doesn't feel like it's just over because it's not. Even when it feels like it's over, there's opportunity in every movement. That's why we talked so deeply yesterday about this is when I would do something, but it has to do this. Well, fortunately, it did what we were thinking. And like for, is that the best way to look at this? Maybe it would be better just to look at it like this, now that I think about it. Why force it behind it? This was the consolidation. So if it breaks this, then it would come down to about 34.4. Should get some kind of retest back to 45. Because it's playing this pattern right now. So now it's like support, resistance. And then it bounced around there for a while. And then you got to see the resistance, the support to the resistance. Now the support got confirmed with this breakdown. Yeah, look at that. Now you're looking at like a 10.6% move and it's just sitting there, if it wants to play up. I mean, obviously, if we break the structure, well, you're looking at about a 15% move down. So I always just tell people to understand what you're doing in a moment, you know, like honestly, I can't tell you what to do. There's no, like, I'm not a financial advisor. So even when you hear me talk all this, like, this is just what I think is going to happen. This is my interpretation of the market, nothing else. It was never meant to mean anything more. It was never meant to mean anything less. This is just my interpretation of the market. And oftentimes, I will run through the market and I will look at every single asset that I know, um, so that I can see what's going on. This is just something that I do. It's not the right answer. Like I don't have all the right answers. I just have a plan and I don't let my emotion dictate the response. All I do is I do it when the market tells me to. And I put it on a chart and then I live with it. Because Julie used to tell me a long time ago, well, it's been a while now, that I would think something and then it would be the right thing, but then I wouldn't follow through because I'd be too afraid of the outcome. So it's just like, hey, you have it on a chart, let the chart do the talking. And that once I started doing that, it was fine. I took my human emotion out of it. And honestly, that's the best thing that ever happened for me, taking that human emotion out of it. I was very bad with that. How many of you are bad with it? That's my, oh, I don't even have the comments on. I'm going to have to turn that back on. I hear Julie doing work out there. Just getting work. Just doing work. But I'm debating. Fuck it. So with Linnea, let's see what I want to do. We're in between. We got the back test I wanted. Sure, it'll probably break down on me, but these are the levels. Gave me the back test I wanted, which is nice. I think we're gonna have to front test this, but Linnea's had such a big breakdown that I'm waiting for the. It's got to have this. This is what you'd be playing for right now, so I think it's a good play. We're playing that retime. Fuck it. I don't really care exactly where I open it. People are just mad that it's closed right now, and since I closed it at like 12:7 to open it at 12:3, people can't complain. Or to close it at one. What was it? 108 or whatever. And now it's at 102 or 107, 102. Yeah. Plus, then I can see if people are actually sticking with me. See, only 11 people still. Nobody took advantage. I should just kept it open. I wouldn't have cared about a $150 drop. Um, 10. That's what I was thinking about. Good there. Now the copy trade's back open at 1029, I think it said, or 1028. I don't know. But so if you're wondering about that, that trade is open because I know I'm going to get all the questions for that. So it opened up, got, I don't know how many extra tokens there was added to it. I'm not even looking. There was a few added because it went down, I don't know, 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. I don't know what the exact percentage was. So Wickoff was a good read in the telly. Word on the street is that XRP is going to $1,000 per coin. I just heard it from Jake Claver and Zach Rectum. Well, I'll say Zach's name is his back end of his name is appropriate. But yeah, I mean, go ahead. Keep regurgitating that. That's fine. $1,000. If it does, I'll be very happy. But so what I did, my plan was I just followed it like I said. Now, I don't know if it's going to be, hey, I got to sell this out again and stuff like that. But what I did was I rebought. I don't need to say the exact pricing. But I got a few extra IOTA. So I have just over a little bit over 100,000, a few thousand tokens more than that now. I have just over 50,000 algo. But I didn't decide. I decided to stay the same amount for a reason, and I'll explain it in a minute. Because of Frankie Fresh, I waited for an opportunity and I bought 10,000 bands so that I would cover it more. because I know he's stressed out. So Frankie, I'm riding this with you. So I have 10,000 banned again. That was one of the big decisions I made, but that's because of Frankie Fresh. Obviously the linear for the copy trade. Epic the 10th. Well, I think it turned into like 10,700 Epic because of the drop instead of 10,000. But XDC is the one that I did a little differential. So basically, with XDC, I had 205,000. Now I have 222,000. So there's an extra 17,000 XDC. And the only thing that's missing, it's one thing I didn't buy. And like I said, I don't know if I'm going to regret it or not, but I saved that money to the sideline for something, for a reason. Because I'm trying to decide if I want to just put a little bit of extra money into XDC instead of buying the XLM. So Crypto Cooter says my copy trade Laneo went from 9,500 to 10. That's what I mean. That's what I was trying to do. You got 10% more without having to do anything. I'm glad to see that. G. Willikert says Tom looks like if David Schwartz and Sam Bankman-Fried had a baby. I love it. Especially with my hair today. My hair's all over the place. You should see it if I didn't have it in the pony. It's so long. I haven't cut it in like almost 3 years. But yeah, that's what I mean, Crypto Cooter. Most will look at it like, oh, he just sold it for no reason to buy it back. But it's extra tokens and we don't have to spend any money. So, that's just a way. That's something I do. That's something that I try to do in my own charts, but it's not always like that. It's only when it's in the consolidation phase. I don't want to have now the goal would be I never have to sell it again, but obviously I have to look at it because if it breaks down the areas we talked about, it's going to be one of those scenarios again. You're not really going to be able to hold through it, and that's the problem. That's the problem. But the other problem is you can still see if we get, but I need that evidence now. Remember what I said? I'm more than willing to buy back when it comes to the bottom of the zone. I talked about it yesterday. Once it comes to the bottom of the zone, I'm buying back. I'm just not buying it at the top because I knew it was going to be a fake out when it first hit to the top and it had to come through. Now I said I would hold, and I'm holding until it gets rejected at the rising wedge now. That it's so simple. It's so simple to me. Now, it might not ever get up there, but it seems simple to me that would be the play. The daily in Bitcoin's extremely oversold in stochastic. The weekly's extremely oversold in stochastic. It seems like the play to me. I don't know how long it's going to take to get back there. The fear and greed index is at 11. Extreme fear. It seems like the right time. The lowest it's ever been is 6. Or 5, whatever it was. Would I have liked it to have gone down a little bit? Yes, but I like the fact that it went down on the drop and the fear got worse. So that shows me that people bought the day before when it was at 11 or 10 and then it went to 14. Before that actual drop they should have bought. And then when they should have bought the drop, it went from 14 to 11. So the fear got worse when it actually should have went up. XYO. Interesting. I kept money to the side for things that I didn't think about. I'm not saying I'm going to buy it. But there's things that I was thinking about in my head too that I'm like, if I had a little bit extra, what do I have? I have like $3,000 right now on the sidelines for something that catches my attention. I don't know what it's going to be. But right now, this is purely, we don't think we've broken back into a bull market by any stretch, and we don't even know if this is going to play out. This was the zone to try to buy back, to try to play the return rally for when we try to test the breakdown out of the rising wedge. That's all this is. Now, is it going to play out? Who knows, honestly. I don't know. All I know is that's where I had it set up, and I'm going to live with it. I don't really care what happens from here until it shows me the next thing. Let's see. Oh yeah, XYO, duh. XYO. Oh my god, it's still way down at that low. Daily's still moving down a little bit, but it's starting to correct back. Man, that is getting crushed. Now, it might have started to simplify its own pattern now. I don't know if that's if it's going to play it like that or not. Let's see. Because you're either playing the wick or you're playing the body. If you play the body, then you actually hit a bottom. If not, it has not hit a bottom. I think this would be more like the market dynamic right now. It's either that's bottoming out right there or it's got to come down even farther, which if it comes down any farther, it's got to come. What was that? Yeah, see, I don't know. Because it could very well have to retrace this. It might have to chase the pattern, but then again, if you just kind of come through it like that, it does make sense. Because then you have the low parts. Once it held, it broke out, came below a couple times. But if it could bounce off this uptrend, it shows upward volatility. Whoops. I'm spending too much time on this one. But I was asked the question. These are tough to read, though, because these wicks are just ridiculously out of whack. That's why this one was always hard to read. Squeezing. It's definitely squeezing. And do a little falling channel as well here, it looks like, at the back end. It's either it holds this line or it ends up coming down and it. Again, it's either it's a lot of these. They're either going to hold and make this reversal. And this one, if not, it's going to come down like, what is that, 20-something%. It's a pretty steep fall. It might even be worse. It might be like 40%. Yeah, that's basically what you're looking at. If it doesn't hold this structure, it's going to end up coming way down there. And it doesn't invalidate the downtrending resistance part of the structure. It's just, it would make it a little bit more of a steep drop. Anyhow, but that's how you have to look at that. That's how you have to look at that. But did I even do the intro today? Probably not. Good morning. 11:05 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Tuesday, November 18th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Oh, absolutely, Mike. And I sold, man, a little while ago, and it's just I kept paying attention to it because of Frankie Fresh. And it's not that I don't like it. It's just I was trying. I had to have a different kind of mindset for a minute so that I could get my portfolio in the balance that I wanted. Let's just call it. Tapping each avenue that I really wanted. But that's one that I felt like, hey, I want to ride. I want to watch that. And I want to make sure we at least stay on track for Frankie. Let's see. How much time have we got? 53 minutes already. Oh my god. Why are you being so cryptic about it? I'm not being whatever. What do you think is cryptic? I'm not cryptic. I'm not a financial advisor. I can't grab your hand and tell you to do something, because guess what? If I tell you to do something and it goes the wrong way, you just blame me. So this is the way that I found best, Dan, for me to be very upfront about what I'm going to do. If you watch every single day, you would have had to watch yesterday in the live last night when I said, once it comes to this area, that's where I'm buying. I said all the altcoins, go play it back, the video from yesterday. I don't know the exact minute, but I said once Bitcoin comes down here, I'm buying all the altcoins. I can't be any clearer than that. I said it in some fashion like that last night in the live. I know for a fact I did because I drew it out and even pointed to it and said, this is where I'm buying. I'm not gonna put a big post out and say I bought. No, if you're here every single day and you're watching and you listen, then you can be on track with my moves. Other than that, are you paying for me to give you advice? No. I'm just showing you my historical data that I have. So you have to make the decision. Are you going to make the same play I made off of what I'm seeing? I can't make that decision for you, nor do I want to. If I wanted to do that, I'd be a financial advisor. I'd charge all of you to do all of this, and I'd make a hell of a lot more money doing this content than I do now. Because everybody would pay a lot of money for me to go one-on-one. I get Tom, I'll give you this and that and this and that, and I know they would. I know they would. I could charge each person $50 a week, and people would do it. Because they just would. Even if it's no different than what I say now, they would still pay for it because then they would get it in a refined motion. They wouldn't have to go, they could shuffle through all the nonsense and then they would just know. And they'd be like, oh, now I don't have to watch all day. But then that defeats the purpose. Now you're paying money, but you're actually losing out on knowledge because now you're just waiting for me to tell you something. 1/10 ounce gold coins make sense too. Ooh, I love that. Rounds and eagles. Mr. Stott knows how to do it. Oh, my hair, I can't see myself cutting it anytime soon. I feel like somebody gifted a sub and it's not showing it. Unless because when it exited out, oh, I'm on Julie's account, so when it exited out on me, when it refreshes, I don't think it goes back to the first comment like mine would. I might have to pull it up on my phone. I know somebody gifted a sub. I seen it when I first started. Sorry. Hey, I might be cryptic, but I always tell you what I do. It's just, I have to do it in a strategic way. It's the learning way. You ever watch a show and it's like, come back next week to find it. But they tell you all throughout the episode what actually happened. And then when you go back, you get the validation and you're like, oh, they gave me the clues. I just had to learn myself. Validation and you're like, let me go back. Maybe nobody, I swear somebody gifted a sub. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong because it's not showing anything. If you gifted a sub, will somebody please ask? Or will somebody please tell me? Joseph gifted a sub. Okay, I knew I seen that. Joseph Euler, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor and gifting a sub today. I don't know who it gifted it to, but I am greatly, greatly appreciated. Or I mean, I'm appreciative of the fact that you did that. Seriously, thank you so much. So I guess for the risky traders that are sitting out in the audience right now, I mean, anything under here is a problem. Because you know it's probably going to trace down here. So is leverage smart? I've been talking about spot this entire time. So, you know, you have to make your own decisions. I would not want to make that decision. In fact, it's a lot more comfortable in spot. There's a lot more friends. And the crazy thing is this technically, if you come all the way back here, if it bounces out, it did not invalidate something that we talked about before. It's a little jank now, but ironically and almost hysterically, it didn't invalidate this yet. Like you could come around here and say whoop, whoop, and maybe it swoops around, and then you're like, I know it's jank, but I mean it's there. It is there. Like think about it. If it drew out, it actually is there still. So you have a and then it didn't quite come through. The bulls take control. That would be the most ironic if they did something like that. It's at the perfect time of the year. Like, this shuffle makes me so happy. It's like every time it shuffles like this, you get a re-enthusiasm and a re-hatred from people. So it's either you get the ones who are taking advantage of the moment and they start loving the market, or you get the ones that are filled with hate because it can't go up now. It's got to go right down to this next target. Not understanding the main principle that the whole point of coming down here and waiting to buy through a certain area was, one, so we could close that fair value gap. Two, find the best deal through that gap, understanding that it's probably going to fill most of it. And then knowing for a fact, if we are breaking down and Bitcoin's done and it's a rising wedge, never, and I mean never, are you not going to have a retest at that breakdown point of a big rising wedge when the price could possibly go all the way to 59K. It's not going to happen. So I think this is the best shot to go retest that 100K. I have not hit any of these feelings. I was saying this before that drop happened. I was saying it while the drop wasn't happening yesterday, saying this is what I'm waiting for. I'm saying it now after the drop happened. Can it go down farther? It absolutely can go down farther. But I anticipate before we have this bigger breakdown, if it happens, that we are going to have to retest Bitcoin at 100K. I don't make the rules. That's just where the rising wedge was at when it broke down. I wish I made the rules, but I do not make the rules. I do not make the rules. I love this stuff. Too bad it's not like the Banaka when we were kids. Scott, for me, you're at the first one at $2.22 is the first area where we have to get past. Then I would say it opens up to about $2.29. Roughly, let's see. Yeah, 229. So 222, which is the 4-hour 20-day. 229, which is the breakout of the initial short pattern here. And I'm not talking about a short trade, but this is a shorter setup, which could still, ironically, this is why it's weird, because this technically has not invalidated this structure. It hasn't. It has not invalidated this weird structure. And no, it's not that kind of a setup. Let me get rid of this, so I can have your focus in the right spots. There's so many little dots and so many this and so many that. It technically hasn't invalidated this entire structure. Like, I started here, down to here, back to here, down to here, fake out, coming around to consolidate a little bit more. Maybe this was that little channel it broke in, was an extra opportunity. It actually is still rounding around. It's overzealous and then it bounces out. I mean, technically, I've seen more jank things than this set up in the crypto market and other finances. So you get over 229, now it gets fun. And taking out all of the micro resistance, because there are some in between, then it opens it up in my eye to around $2.49. Then if you get past there, now it gets really fun. Because now you got a couple opportunities. One, do you come back up and get rejected and form, well, not even form, maybe you already have formed this megaphone just waiting for a resistance after we re-looked at this. We'll see. I'm fascinated, Mr. Trades. I'm fascinated with what we're seeing. So I was wondering what Tom had to say about what was going on today. Never got alerted. Had to search for this video and got lucky that it's still live. YouTube playing games. I subscribed to 4 channels. Oh, I know it sucks. It sucks. I should have shared it. I should have shared it when I went live. I should have known. I should have known. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, Mr. Scotty Trades. Yes, that's what I was trying to. After 249, it gets fun. Yeah, 260. It's 260. Oh shit. 260, but if I open it up to like this pattern a little bit, I agree with 260. Get out of my way. I need to get this out of the way. I agree with 260, but we're trying to set it up to see if it comes all the way over the top. Let's see. Now, you know what? This is off a little bit, isn't it? Not a lot, but it was off just a little bit. Yeah, 260. That makes more sense. Well, 265, but yeah, 260, Frankie. I'll live with that. I mean, Scotty. I'll live with that. But yeah, it should be clear there. I just have these micro levels in between just from the past setups that I like to keep so that I can remember. It's interesting to compare it along the lines of the wick off. It sure is. But isn't it? I mean, Scotty, it is building that dynamic, isn't it? I think you agree too. I think it's building in that setting. I remember yesterday you even talked about if we came down and we filled out that FVG and it held that 88.5 at the lowest. I remember you were talking about if XRP could come back up today. I think you used either $2.20, maybe it was a tiny bit higher, but you said if it closes the daily there, it was the perfect accumulation opportunity. And we all talked about the fact that we would dump about 20-25% right when that ETF came online, and that's what ended up it happens every time. So now it's just trying to get the validation. So Scotty, in your opinion, do you think the bottom's in for not the purposeful bottom? Maybe it comes down later, but do you think for this movement, do you think that we've cleared our way to go to not saying we can't go to like 218 and back? Do you think we've cleared ourselves to go to 229 and then ultimately up to 230-esque and maybe even back up to 260 as we await this rally for Bitcoin to come back up to 100K? Because that's what I think. I think the altcoins could have a 10 to 15% surge randomly here now. Remember, I've been talking about the 20-25% drop. That happened. Remember how I talked about how some of these were going to come down? Look at XRPNW. Had a 10% drop today. Now all of a sudden it starts to come into an area where you're like, okay, now it's down to 90 cents, but see where the 20-day support is? We got to see how it reacts. That's the crazy part. It's still got to come all the way possibly down to 70 cents to test that area. When I say we don't have the data and we don't buy, that's why we don't buy, because of shit like this. I don't want to be stuck in this crap. Now you got people that bought this just because of XRP. I know, because my own audience was, even when I said not to. And now they're sitting on a 20% loss already. That's not going to be any fun. What if it does come down to 68 cents? Now you're down 40%. I don't want to be down 4/10 before it ever starts. Ooh, look, it's up 5% now. Oh, yeah, it did. It showed the wick down there when I was on there. But there's opportunity. You got to find where you want it. I like to see evidence. I want to see it build. I like to watch the building. Commodities, it's all about the mining, what you believe now. Because I believe they're still going to go a lot higher. Yes, can you pull capital and profits? Sure you can. But like I said, I'm heavily invested. I took 27,000 back to the side, as you know. And I think I still have 3,000 B2 gold. I have I can never remember which one. Oh, 400 Barrett and 300 Pan America Silver, 1,000 First Majestic, 1,000 Fortuna, 1,000 Hecla. The two I don't have at the moment is Dolly Varden and Silver Corp because they're the speculative ones for me. So I only carry those when I'm very certain of what's going to happen. I'm watching those lower liquidity levels to quietly absorb with the institutions. Now with yet another ETF, I'm watching 206 to 194. Yep. But I think to get down there, we're probably going to have to build this. This is where a lot of people are just going to be like, oh, we're going down there right away. But I think we need to build the case to go down there now. I love Pan America Silver, Scott. Just understand with these silver miners, like it came up from when we were buying it earlier in the year at 16, 17, 19, 22, 24. And now it's at 38-ish. I think it was still at 34. Was it 34? No, 37. Wow, 37.40. Wow, it's crazy that and Barrett is the exact same price. I never thought I would. They do travel a lot in symmetry, but wow, it's cool to see that. But yeah, no, Scotty, I agree with you because I don't think that we're out of the woods yet of sub $2. I just think we're building the case for that push up. And it's not volume based. That's why I'm still concerned that we can see sub $2. Some people will see the title and be like, oh, it's going to go down right. That's not the case. I still think now, because we're rotating, it's a perfect rotational moment. Now everybody's going to be pessimistic. They're going to say, I can't buy this. It's going lower. And then when they go to buy it again, it's already... Now, there is the case we made that maybe we're just coming back to 233 to retest that daily. But we'll see. Does market drop for ETF if they are buying in? Pools for cheaper. Mike, what happens? The reason why is because, think about it. All this capital that could be going into the crypto market, now all of a sudden some of it gets directed into the ETF. Well, just by virtue of money's being taken out, and then they need to buy more of this particular token that's in the ETF, so they don't want to buy it at that price. It's there's only so much that can be pushed everywhere. Contracts cheaper for the big boys. That's the biggest point. Honestly, Nick, that's probably the biggest reason. You just hit it on the head. But I should go. It's been over an hour. I gotta go make sure stuff's done in the house while my son's in school. This is my time to get stuff done. But everything's going according to plan right now. I'm very happy. Very happy right now. I don't know if it's going to play out completely in our favor, but as of right now, I would still say if you've missed out, I would look at XDC. It's come close enough to that drop. I know it hasn't come all the way down there, but that's close. Very close. Now you're just... Because technically, if that's where it came, then you could move it over and be like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. It's actually not set up in the right spot. See? But it's not going to make that big of a difference. But if you were trying to close this out, maybe that ends up being where you have to move it up after. But we were lining it up something like that. Let's delete this so it gets out of the way. I would still look at XDC. I'm just saying. And then if XDC breaks this setup, okay, well, that's why we have this here. If it breaks this setup, then you can always sell it. And then you can try again when it comes lower. You know, you could always try again. But I thought it was an opportunity to sell it up here to buy it back down here. Now, okay, maybe it doesn't come all the way down here. I'm okay with that too. Maybe it's starting to redefine itself. But it came close enough for me. I base it on what Bitcoin was doing. So I'm basing it all on Bitcoin right now. Until we break away from Bitcoin, it's all based on what I think Bitcoin's doing. And right now it's in a bullish phase only because we came down so much. That doesn't mean it's overall bullish. I just think we've got an opportunity for a move to 100,000. Now, is it going to happen right now? I sure hope so. Because then it would 100% follow the box and everything. And it would be 100% we talked about even before we came down here. This is the crazy part. But when it follows in symmetry, this is what I like. So we'll see. But it's going to be quick if it does it. It's not just going to take 10 weeks. It's going to be quick if this happens. So I'm XRP Future Millionaire. Make sure you look in the video description below and our pinned comments. If you want to be part of the copy trade, you had an opportunity before I bought back in during this live at 1027. We got about 10 to 12% more tokens because of the drop. I don't actually know how many tokens I have this time around. I can tell you. But I don't think it's going to be some big crazy distortion. But in the video description below and our pinned comments, there's a link to TOOBIT. Click on that if you want to be part of the copy trade. And then every time if I have to sell out again, if I think we're going to go way farther down, otherwise I'm not selling out. And eventually we're going to hit it in the right spot where the market's going in its place. But right now the objective is I'm going to sell it. And then when I buy it back, the goal is just to buy more. You know, if we buy it lower than when we sold it. So that's the only thing that we can do to try to, to try to stay ahead of this market. And I don't do profit sharing or anything on here. So I don't collect on anybody's money. It's just you're trading it because you want to trade Linea. That's it. There's nothing in it for me, let's just say. There could be, I could switch it, but there's no point. That's not why I'm doing it. Let's see the history. So we opened this one at 1025. The last one we closed at 1061. 1064, 1061. So it closed at a couple different prices. Oh no, 1061. And it was, how many tokens was it? Oh, closed 294,720 Linea tokens. How many did I open up just now? It's so funny how it makes me look at my stats because I'm doing the copy trade. If it was just a regular trade, it makes it nice and easy. Oh, I opened, so I closed 294,720. I opened 313,200 Linea. So I ended up getting an extra, yeah, that's about right. So I got an extra, it's not a lot, but it's an extra 19,000 roughly Linea, it looks like. I don't even know what that price is out to be. Then you have to, it's just, that's what I would have added. That's what you would have had to add it to. So 19,000 Linea times 0.0. What the hell is it? We bought it at 0.25. $194. And that's the same thing as if we paid $194.75 on the drop to add to our position. So that's what that's what it's like. So it's basically like we invested, for me, if you had the same amount, I invested another $194.75 that was allowed to happen because of the drop. So, hey, Kryptonian, what's going on, my friend? I lost my subscription because I don't bank anymore. That's fine. I'd rather you, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just glad you're back, my friend. I'm glad you found your way back. Very, very long time viewer since the beginning, and he was in Tom's Army for years. So he's a honorary member of Tom's Army for all times. Let's just put it that way. You got the lifetime honor of Tom's Army. So yeah, so when I try to describe what I try to do on drops, it's not about selling the top or getting the bottom. It's just about if I want to hold something, I'm trying to get myself a few more tokens if it's in the consolidation. Now, if we're in accumulation and it's just going up and then it back tests, this has to be because I see a market fall like we did with Bitcoin. And every time it gets a little bit harder and harder and harder. So in this case, we're able to get $194.75 or just over 19,000 Linea tokens and have a slightly lower price now. Instead of the 106 whatever, it's at 1025. And when we did it the first time, it just, that's what I try to do. So we'll see how this pans out. I'm XRP Future Millionaire. If you want to join that and be part of that, you have to join TOOBIT and then search for me, XRP Future Millionaire in the copy trade. There's 11 people who are actually subscribed. 26 people follow, but 15 of you did not hit the subscribe button, so you can't be part of the trade, even though I get messages from most of you. I've tried my damnedest to show you how to do it. If you want to trade IOTA, where I have, well, I mean, it's like 103,000 plus. I was going to do the whole 106,000, but I saved a few thousand. There was like $100 and something I saved in case I want to try something. And then that's on WEEX, and that's in the video description below under pinned comments. I also have my Epic on TOOBIT. And then on BITUNIX, there's a link in the video description below and our pinned comments. That's where Proton's at. And if I do any kind of leverage trading, I tend to keep it on there because I built up a little something by doing XRP trades. But yeah, those are all there. Those are all no KYC exchanges. Take advantage of it while you can before the new regulations come in. And then once that's implemented, it's ball game over. So, enjoy the day. First area we're looking to push past, we're past right now 222. Then we're looking to get over 229 for XRP. That should open it up to $2.42 roughly. And then it's over and out to 260 to 265 range. So,